This is Western Mass News.
State leaders are looking for new ways to improve living conditions in Springfield and surrounding areas. Welcome, everyone, to Western Mass News on this Monday. I'm Chris Pisano. Western Mass News reporter Glenn Kittle joins us in studio now after hearing from a local state rep on how they're addressing those issues in our area. Glenn.
Yeah, Chris, State Representative Carlos Gonzalez is having a closed-door meeting on Tuesday with the Bay State's Health and Human Services Secretary to discuss how access to health care, social services, and community resources can aid those living condition improvements.
State and local leaders are hosting Secretary Kate Walsh with the Massachusetts Department of Health and Human Services on Tuesday to discuss how to improve living conditions in Springfield and the greater Western Mass community.
I think it's important for the Secretary to hear directly from the different challenges that our hospitals are facing here in Western Massachusetts, particularly here in Springfield, as well as the public health agency leaders to get their perspective as to best way to provide the social services and the health services that are.
State Representative Carlos Gonzalez is spearheading the conversations. He tells Western Mass News local organizations can better communicate the problems in Western Mass communities and better utilize community resources.
I think the specific issues are going to come directly from the public health leaders as well as the hospital leaders, and I think those are the different and unique conversations that will take place about what is it that they're seeing here in Western Mass that may be unique, and what are the challenges that they're facing, and what are the best strategies to address those concerns when it comes to human services.
Gonzalez says that perspective is key to finding comprehensive solutions to combat these issues at the state level.
Gonzalez tells us the meeting between him and local health officials and the Health and Human Services Secretary will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Reporting in studio, Glenn Kittle, Western Mass News.
All right.